All right, it's Jordan Sanchez on Revolution 935, and I have a very special guest with me. And if I sit here reading off all their accolades and all their awards and all that good stuff, we'd be here for quite a while.
Go on then.
I'm just going to introduce them. It's Tony and Paavo from Above and Beyond. What's up, guys?
Hi, thanks for having us in.
I am so happy to be here with you guys. I'm so happy you guys are in Miami. Well, you're in Miami quite a bit, Tony, right?
Yeah.
You live here.
Yeah.
Paavo and Jono, who's not with us right now. I'm so glad that you guys are all, coming to Miami and starting to jump on this Anjuna family reunion tour, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. Is it your first tour back from the pandemic shutdown?
Absolutely, yeah. We did one gig in the UK that wasn't our own gig, Creamfields, and then we did ABGT 450, which is our big birthday show we do every year, and then there was Anjuna Deep Open Air the next day. And then we were on tour. So it's happened pretty quickly. America's really the only place at the moment that we can tour anywhere apart from the UK. And we're trying to do it before it gets too cold because outdoors is safer. So we're doing more outdoor shows and we're off.
I was going to ask you about that actually, because where you will be performing this weekend in Miami is the Oasis Wynwood, correct?
Yeah.
And it's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're giving us a twofer.
Yeah.
So that's great. I think people are going to be really excited about that. But it is an outdoor venue. It's actually a really new venue. And I wanted to talk to you about that venue, but I want to talk to you about you guys first, for maybe people that might not know your background. So let's go back to the early 2000s. And you're developing the sound, you're developing your artistic signature. Did you ever think, looking back, that Anjuna Beats, Above and Beyond, and just the movement that you created will be at the level that it is right now, just looking back at that time?
I didn't. I mean,
No.
I had a job which I'd been going for 9 months, whatever, and I was thinking, I'll give it 2 years and I'll see what happens. But I was working for a record company, and I could, you just see so many bands crash and burn. Sign, put a single out, doesn't happen, get dropped, go back to working in a supermarket. That just happens over and over and over and over again in the music business. And I think, part of kind of reaction to that is part of the reason why we set about doing things eventually the way that we did them, is to avoid that kind of short pop career. We've just avoided pop, basically. For 20 years, and here we're still here.
But I think really early on, we were just so excited because we had this feeling okay, we can make the music, but how can we get it out there? And if people could really hear all the stuff we're doing, we had this incredible drive and maybe overconfidence, when they hear this stuff, this is going to go great. And we gave our first track to Paul Oakenfold, and he wore out the dub plate that we gave to him and gave a great start to the label.
That's incredible, and it's so cool to hear stories like that. You mentioned that you kind of left your job for Above and Beyond. That was in the music business, correct?
Yeah, I was marketing director at Warner's and doing some A&R. Once I discovered clubbing in 1995, I started hearing records in clubs that other people at Warner's weren't hearing. I started bringing them in, and I signed Hysteric Ego, Want Love, for £2,000, I think. It was a hit in 19 countries, got to number 2 in France. And then I started working on William Orbit with his classical album and commissioned the trance remix of Barber's Adagio that Ferry Corsten did. I guess if I'd met Paavo and Jono before that happened, we probably would have done it ourselves, but I hadn't done that. It was a few months before I met them. So, I was sort of moving towards that world, and it, just felt kind of exciting. I'd wanted to be, I've been in bands for years, playing guitar and doing different kinds of music, but this felt like it had some legs, so it was worth giving a try. But I was so realistic, again, like I said, about how long bands last in the music business back then, at least, that I thought 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. Paavo, what's the advantage of having someone like Tony who has the mind of someone in the music business? What's the advantage for say something that you're involved with?
Well, I think, a really big part of the whole Anjuna Beats label and Above and Beyond as a thing has been this kind of, seeing it outside the dance music world and sort of having the bigger picture. And I think Tony's really sort of come in and brought a lot of that stuff, because me and Jono were young kids and totally in it. And Tony was with his other foot in the sort of wider music world. and then the other foot firmly on the dance floor, jumping up and down.
That's all. I'm glad you mentioned that. Tony kind of gave you that kind of zoomed out picture, and I sensed that when I first heard of you guys. I was in my 20s. I didn't know anything about dance music or anything, but I was at Ultra back when it was at the other park on the other side of the arena. And I was kind of like a young kid. I was asking people, hey, who should I check out tonight? Who should I check out? And the one answer I always got was Above and Beyond. Check out Above and Beyond. And it was, sure enough, I was not disappointed when I first checked you guys out. It was incredible. But the one thing that struck me was kind of like the reaction that the fans had and the grasp that you had on your supporters and your fans, because it wasn't just people telling me they're great DJs or they have great music. It's the experience. It's the family environment. It's the friends. So touch upon that rabid fan base that you guys have and how you feel that connection has served you for all these years in your success in music.
I mean, it started with we were really interested in forming a relationship with our fans. And luckily, in Paavo, we had somebody who could code a forum for Anjuna Beats right at the start. And we posted on the forum, and the fans posted on the forum, and we encouraged a discussion about our music and our gig. And that was really the start of it. That was before there was Facebook and Instagram and all these other things. We had that thing going, and it got quite big, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And quite soon we found that, we'd do a track, and we played it on our then called Trans Around the World radio show, fly to Singapore like the next week, and people are singing the lyrics of a song we've literally just played. And that didn't used to happen at all, because before the internet, you'd go to different cities and people were all like discovering music at different times and things like that. So once the internet really started happening, we saw that everything was synced and things could happen really, really quickly. And I think that's actually when the sort of Anjuna family thing started happening, because people were exposed to the same music at the same time and then could talk with other people who are listening to the same stuff. And we've been just really excited about that. And especially early on, we were really involved in it ourselves. So I think that gave it that snowball effect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it goes to show you how really rabid the supporters are, and I don't mean that they're like crazed. It's not a crazed fan base. It's actually one of the things that I love about the people that love your music is that like they show their friends, their family, their kids, and people sing along to the songs all the time. And you used to do the push that button, and I think that was one of the coolest things anyone has ever done. Tell me how that idea came about, and like. And why do you think the crowd kind of ate it up,
It's like so many things that have happened in our career that sound like a good idea, and it just happened. We were playing Sun and Moon quite a lot, and it sort of diminishes into a sort of bit of silence before kicking off. The riff comes in, so I thought it would be quite neat to put a pause in that thing. And I think the first time I did put a pause in it, so it's send the track to reverb on the mixer and everything, and just hit pause, so people are expecting it to come in at the end of the 8 bars, but it doesn't. And I thought it'd be quite fun. And there was a video camera guy, just like your friend here, who was on stage with a video camera, and I sort of grabbed his arm and pulled him round, and he filmed himself pushing start again. And that was that. I didn't really sort of think anything more of it. I didn't really know where the video was going to be, but the video obviously went out, and the next weekend there's people there with signs, can I push the button? So it sort of turned into this thing where we're like, I thought, well, that's really cool. Yeah, we should get somebody up to do it. And then we did. We got somebody up to do it, and people went nuts. And it just turned into this thing where people were making the most elaborate signs with, can I push the button? Can my mum push the button? Was my favourite one. With lights on and moving parts and all sorts of stuff to try and catch our attention. Really, the thing was just get up the front row is how you get picked to do it, because we can't it has to happen pretty quickly.
Right.
The thing that seems to have happened with it, which is really sweet, and I should point out, we're not doing it at the moment, but when they don't get picked, it seems like they immediately feel great about the people who have been picked. And that, just, I think, probably more than anything else, there's so much about the kind of people who come to see us. And you were right before we were saying, they just seemed like a really nice bunch of people.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's, I said this yesterday in another interview, people I think are feeling slightly coming out to shows and being amongst other people again. If you're going to be amongst other people for the first time, I think our fans are probably, one of the nicer crowds you could be amongst. So, I think it's quite a selling point for us.
For sure. And Paavo, to speak on that a little bit, on the friendliness of going to an Above and Beyond show, how the atmosphere, the environment, the energy, what's that like from your point of view?
Well, I think actually when I first started clubbing in Finland, one of the things that I realized when I walked into the club for the first time was that the vibe was like, it doesn't matter what you're into. It doesn't matter if we don't share the same point of view. We might believe in different things, but if we're respectful for other people and we're there for the music, we're welcome and we're accepted as part of the family. And that whole ethos and vibe is something that really, really touched me early on as a teenager. And I think we've somehow managed to kind of keep that thing going. And I've been hearing from a lot of promoters, like at the Gorge, for example, they've been saying like they absolutely are amazed with so many people that they didn't really have trouble because they're expecting trouble and it's not there. And it's something that we've been hearing from a lot of people that somehow people are still keeping that respect and fun going. So it's been really, really an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've sensed that at Ultra as well when I first saw you guys. Did you want to speak on that a little bit more?
No.
It really is like just hearing you guys speak from it, because I know for a fan, they feel it in the crowd amongst the rest, but your fans want to know that they're connected with you, and you seem to nurture that connection as opposed to kind of like build a wall with the fans. And I think that's amazing. And I was going to ask you, obviously you weren't going to do the press the button. So how does something like COVID affect things like fan engagement for you guys, where now you can't do things like press the button? And do you have any concerns about that aspect of performing this tour?
I mean, we're not doing it, and you can sense people getting excited when we've been playing Sun and Moon, and they think it's going to happen. And then it doesn't, and I don't really know what I know what the universal sign language for the bill is, and I don't know what it is. We're not doing it tonight. I just sort of go, this is a shame, but we just, hopefully it's a temporary thing. It will be interesting to see how we feel doing a show without it in there. There's certainly a sense of disappointment at the moment, but I think when people get used to it, we'll see where we are with it. But I've always enjoyed it, and like I said, I've enjoyed the way that it happens and the way that it's received. And you're right. I think for us, it's about breaking that fourth wall and saying, why don't you guys come up and be part of the show? Because they are anyway. I mean, we have cameras on the audience all the time, and if you're a DJ, you play to the first row, and you feed that into your performance that goes out to the rest of the people. So it's a two-way street. And I always say, if we didn't turn up, those people could still have a good time without us. They are incredibly important to what we do.
And I would say also that I think a lot of people have gone through like certain levels of isolation, and it's been a difficult year for everybody. Mm-hmm. So having now been to the parties, it sort of feels like, well, it's called group therapy, but it really is that thing where like it feels amazing to be again together with a lot of people, just dancing, having a great time. And there's some sort of level of healing that happens there. And I think it's very sort of almost that core of what we've always done. It helps us. Hopefully it helps other people too.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you whether that feeling changes your approach to this particular tour, and when you perform out there, do you kind of go into these shows slightly different than the pre-COVID shows?
Not really, no. It's taking me a while to remember what I used to do at those shows. Because I think there's a way of communicating to a large room of people that I've completely forgotten, because I've been just doing streams from a kitchen. That's a very different sort of thing.
Yeah.
Staring at your phone. I've got my reading glasses on. So it's a different thing from projecting out there, which is a shame, because I need to wear my reading glasses, and now everybody's blurry at the moment. So I'm going to need to get some proper gig glasses.
Yeah.
We've toured so much over the years that there's been definitely moments where I've sort of taken it all for granted. You know, it's just happening every week. We're just going everywhere all the time. And now not having that opportunity to do it, I ended up missing it. And now doing it feels really amazing. And it's impossible to take it for granted because who knows where I will be in 6 months? I don't know. Yeah. But at least now we can go out and party, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, definitely. And the venue that you guys are going to be at is, I think it's amazing. It's a great place for Miami. It's a great place for Wynwood, our neighborhood. And Tony, you know, you're from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Something like that was definitely needed at this time. And I'm curious, what are you guys looking forward to playing in Oasis? Like, what are you looking forward to as far as the crowd reaction, or even maybe you're looking forward to playing a particular song for the crowd? What is that?
Well, for me, it's the first time I played a paid show in Miami since I sort of moved here.
Okay.
So for me, it's that incredible thing. There's lots of friends that I've made in Miami while I've been living here that will be coming as guests for the first time. So for me, it's like a home show.
Wow.
And there's two of them, which is great. But I haven't actually been to Oasis. I've only been out to one small show since during lockdown.
Yeah.
And so I haven't been to a lot of these venues yet. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like.
Oh, well, I mean, the venue, by the way, has amazing food. If you need food recommendations, the pizza and the sandwiches are top notch, by the way.
Excellent.
I'm not being paid by these guys to endorse them or anything. Just letting you know it's one of my favorite spots. But you will be at the Oasis Wynwood Friday and Saturday. It's the first weekend of October. We're getting ready to kind of like, you know, spread our wings for fall, and Miami's going to be really nice, and it's so nice to have Above and Beyond perform in our backyard. That's Friday and Saturday at the Oasis Wynwood right here in Miami. I am so happy to have these guys with me. If you wanted to let anybody know about anything coming up, like projects, let's hear it, right?
We have a new single out now called Almost Home, featuring Justine Suissa, which is the first time we put something out with her for about 4 years.
Wow.
And our ABGT 450 shows are up on YouTube. The deep set that we did on the canal boat the day before, and our main set. That's it, I think.
Yeah. We've been very, very busy in the Anjuna kitchen cooking up some new tunes, so it's almost a little bit difficult to figure out what we're going to almost leave out.
Yeah.
I really like our new track, Screwdriver. Got a track called Gratitude. I mean, we got one.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Chains. I mean, there's so many.
There are.
Okay, so we get to expect lots of Anjuna beats, lots of Above and Beyond music coming out very soon, huh?
Yeah. I don't know in what order. We haven't decided.
You haven't decided yet, but it's coming,
yeah.
And I'm sure people are excited for it. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see you at the Oasis Wynwood. Make sure you go out there Friday and Saturday right here in Miami. Thank you so much to Tony and Paavo from Above and Beyond.
See you later.
Of course.
Bless you.
Thanks.